Right, today's agenda. So we will talk about importance of email marketing and what are the most common KPIs and how to measure them. And we also will talk about how to get more subscribers, how to personalize your newsletter through list segmentation. Point 3 and point 4 are pretty interesting because some of you during the registration process, you have asked about how to get more subscribers, how to make sure your audience spend time on reading your newsletter. You will get some answers over here as well. So, and then we will wrap up with a case study and a Q&A session.
Right, thanks for that.
Right, who we are, Liana Technologies. So Liana Technologies, we founded in 2005. Our headquarters in Finland with offices in Europe, Asia, and Middle East. We work with a lot of companies with an in-house marketing team. Over the past 15 years, we have worked with over 3,500 customers across 30 countries. And we are also an award-winning SaaS company. We get award from being innovative in the technology for digital marketing and also being providing good customer support for our customers.
Thank you.
And our tools are from PR and marketing tools. So you would know a lot about these tools already, from email marketing to automation and how to reach out to media, website build, e-commerce platform. We also are managing a CRM system and also an event registration solution. So these are the solutions that are already integrated with each other. These can be a standalone solutions, or you can use a combination of it.
Thank you. All right, guys, I'll just give you a brief overview about what I do, and this is basically a page about my company. So that's me. I run a digital marketing consultancy over here in Hong Kong called Consinity, and we have expertise in search engine optimization, conversion optimization, and lead generation. The topic that we're going to discuss today is going to be one of the topics that we actively implement for our lead generation strategies. And you can see some of our clienteles that, some of the brands that we worked with in the past. Yeah. All right. So without further delay, let's get on to the topic for the day.
Before we start, we wanted to ask our audience a quick question. So 1 second. So I wanted to ask, are you using any email marketing solution at the moment? Would you be able to share with us? If yes, are you using any email marketing tool, or no, you currently are not? I will give a few seconds for you to let us know a little bit more about you. All right, then I am closing it now, and let's share the result with everyone. So it looks like we have like a 50-50. So half of the audience say they are, and half said they are not. So let's get going.
Thanks for that, Josephine. Right, so EDM basics and stats. Now, what does EDM mean? What does email, I'm sure half of y'all, as Josephine did a test in terms of, the poll, half the audience has done this, half have not. So we'll go through the basics very quickly. What is EDM? EDM basically means email database marketing, all right? I mean, some call it electronic database marketing, same thing. But this is basically a direct form of marketing where, you're sending your emails to your end audience. Now, bear in mind, this is very different from your day-to-day emails, because when we talk about database marketing, we are talking about mass emails, right? And why are we talking about mass emails? Because that's how you can reach out to people who already know you or heard about you. And it's one of the ways to reach out to a larger audience and tap into a market that is already known to you or your company. Okay, So for now, just keep in mind that, EDM, and we're going to dig deeper into this, but for people who are hearing this for the very first time, email database marketing mainly means you're sending out mass emails, okay, to email IDs that are already in your database. Cool. I do believe there's another poll sign over here. So Josephine, do you want to conduct another poll?
Now you understand a bit more about email marketing if you're not using it at the moment. So I wanted to ask a quick question. So would you be able to let me know, do you think email marketing is effective or you're not sure about it? Let us know so that we know whether you're a believer or not, or like you are still wanted to learn about it.
So I believe this question in the poll basically relies to, what has your experience been with email marketing, right? I mean,
That's true.
yeah, so just answer that and let's see what sort of experiences that people have. For those who've tried, those who haven't, pretty much, just select the option part. Yeah.
So, all right, let's see. Let's see the result. Right. So we have a little bit about like a 50-50. At least no one here thinks email marketing is not effective. Let's see. Wish you have some statistics to show us, right? So let's
Yeah.
look at the statistics.
Thanks, Josephine. All right, cool. So in terms of email marketing, right now, obviously, in terms of a channel, right, it is quite effective, and it's glad to see that a lot of people have actually tried and seen the results. However, the next slide that I'm going to show you in terms of the stats might just, bring out some crazy figures in terms of how effective it is, because everyone knows it's effective. The question is how effective. Okay. So based on, and again, this is in general return on investment. It is believed that if you use email marketing correctly, your return on investment will possibly be the highest of any channels in terms of online marketing. And there's a good reason for that, right? I mean, think about it this way: when you're actually spending on ads, on LinkedIn ads, or on Facebook ads, or Google ads, you're actually spending money to acquire or get attention or acquire your potential clients, right? Whereas email is one of the channels which is highly underused by a lot of companies. Okay. And why is it underused? Because a lot of times people get attracted to the flashy stuff. No one really talks about email marketing because no one makes money from that. The agencies don't make money from email marketing. Google does not make money from email marketing. Facebook does not make money from email marketing. So there's no noise being made about this. The only person that makes money is the company, or the business owners over here, right? Because think about it, what's the cost if you're sending out emails to a mass audience? Your cost is possibly the tool that you're using, right? And maybe the amount which you spend to acquire the audience, which we're going to talk about in a bit, yeah, in terms of how actually to make it effective. But based on, so basically this means for every $1 that you spend on email marketing, your return on investment will be almost 40 times. Now this is a general average. Imagine even if it is 4 to 8 times, it is still crazy high, correct, compared to other channels, right? Now another stats, and again, we're going through these stats to actually, um, uh, you know, get people who've not heard about the email marketing part on level with rest of the crowd. Okay. So when we talk about EDM statistics further, mobile plays a huge role, especially over the last few months, right? Where 48% of the emails were opened on mobile devices, 11% of the email templates are optimized for mobile. Now, again, some of these stats mainly show that basically email marketing templates or email marketing, when people, even for companies that do use email marketing, they don't keep mobile first, or they don't keep mobile in mind, right? Which is why, only 11% of templates are actually optimized for mobile, which is most of the reasons you're looking at. Imagine you're traveling in an MTR, you get an email, and you look at it on your mobile phone, and what you see is some random coding which comes up when you actually click open, because they've not optimized it. Or even worse, there could be an image which never loads, and you'll be like, what did I just open, right? If that's happened to you. And a lot of time that is because of optimization. Yeah. 69% of mobile users delete the emails that aren't optimized. I'm pretty sure it'll be 99 right now. Like no one really wants to read emails that are not optimized. And 64% of decision makers read their emails on mobiles. A lot of times, decision makers only get the most important emails on their mobile, and uh, they use mobile a lot, right? So from an EDM point of view, the takeaway from this slide is that mobile is very important, a huge part of your email database marketing strategy, and hence it's very important to use good EDM tools. Next. Now, take a minute and think this question through, okay? There's no poll or anything, just think this through. What is the most important reason for opening an email? Again, take a step back, think. You're sitting on your desk, right now or sometime in the afternoon. You get an email in your inbox. How do you decide whether you open an email or not? Anyone? How do you decide whether you open an email or not? Okay. Send a name. The most important thing. Majority of the people make a decision whether to open an email or not is based on the sender name. That is 64% of the total people make a decision whether you're going to actually, look into that email or not is based on that. Second is the subject line, right? Almost half the respondents, open the email based on whether they find the subject line intriguing or not. So those are the two most important things. Now, you can always say, you can give out an offer and stuff like that, which is true to an extent, but it's how you frame it, which definitely hence comes at number 3. Yeah. So as you can see, the most important things in, to realize over here is the sender name and the subject line, which means that if you plan to buy an email database, which you should not, by the way, that's what I'm trying to convey over here. If you plan to buy an email database of like 10,000 people that, there are some companies who sell, and then try to send an email to them, you're not going to see any results because those people don't know you, right? So it's no point buying all these email databases. Never do that, okay? It's very important to actually generate your own list, even if it is over a period of time, because that's how you're going to actually get results. But that's just half the work done, right? I mean, if you get an email from someone you know, your best friend, or the company that you love, you're going to open that email, right? Imagine you get an email from a company you've never heard of, XYA. Let's just call that company. Are you going to open that? Most probably not, because you'll think it's a spam, right? I mean, why would you open an email from someone you don't even know? And that too from a company, right? Second is the subject line. If you find subject line interesting, you may consider it. You may consider it. But more than half the time, people won't even open then, right? And hence, one of the important things that we're going to talk about in this session is also how to generate a list. Okay, and what are the interesting subject lines to actually look at? Yeah. And again, there offers intro paragraph, expected length, but that's usually after opening an email, if you consider, if you know, even if people do know you or your company, and you send lengthy emails which are boring, you know, some may not open it, but majority will still open it. So takeaway from the slide is it's very important to create your own list, because people open emails from companies and people that they know, and the subject line should be good. I do see a poll sign over here, so I will hand it over to Josephine for another poll question.
Thanks, Wish, that sharing with us how important subject line is. For those who are not using any email marketing tool, do you know there is a function that can allow you to test which subject is more attractive? And for those who are using an email marketing solution, have you been utilizing this feature? So let me ask you a question. So there's a top, this is an actual example, just want to tell you. So a top retail brand did an A/B testing on a subject line for their abandoned shopping cart message. So below options are the two subject line. Let me know which one do you think has a higher open rate. I give everyone a few seconds to give it a go. All right, I do see the statistics now changing quite a bit. I'm just going to give it another 10 seconds. Yeah, it's keep changing. Everyone is voting now. Yeah, I do see now the statistics stopped. So I'm going to publish the result now. If you haven't finished your vote. All right. Okay, I'm going to share the result now. So at the beginning, quite a lot of you were saying like forget something, but at the end, it is a 50-50. So what do you think is the answer? The answer is actually subject line B, the one you left something in your shopping bag, has a 5% higher on the open rate because it's addressing shoppers' cart. So it's not something very generic. So with a feature of an A/B testing feature, you don't really have to guess which one is will have a higher open rate. You could just test it out, create 2 or 3 subject lines, and just to give it like an hour or something to let the feature to decide which subject is more popular and send it to the rest of the audience to the more popular subject line. So this is a good test. Looks like those that who are using email marketing solution, you should really give it a try to utilize this feature in order to create a higher open rate. Thanks, Wish.
All right, thanks, Josephine. All right, let's move on. Now, the most popular activity on smartphone, and I'm sure some of you might be surprised looking at this, that email is the most popular activity, but this is in general, right? We're talking about, you know, like global, not only Hong Kong, right? And again, yes, people do play video games, they do browse, they go on Facebook, but even after that, mobile, you know, email on mobile is extremely popular because that's what most people do in terms of when they're traveling to work, from work, over the weekend, whether it's personal emails. And again, do keep in mind one thing. I'm not talking about, this is not time spent, okay? I'm not talking about time spent in the most popular activity on this slide. No, this is about touch points. How many times, you know, like how many times do they actually, you know, which feature on mobile phone do they use the most, which app they use the most, and it's the email feature or the app which they use the most. This is not the time spent, okay? Now, we know a few things based on what we've discussed. We know that sender name is important. We know subject line is important. We know people spend a lot of time on mobiles. We know email is very popular on mobile as well. Okay, these are basics that we know. So let's build on that. Let's understand a little bit more in terms of KPIs. Now, KPIs, basically for people who don't know, KPIs are key performance indicators, which means what are the parameters that need to be tracked? Okay, what are the parameters that need to be tracked when you actually conducting or doing email database marketing, right? So the most common or the most important as well are open rate and click rate. Okay, now when I talk about open and click rate, usually you'll see that your open rates, and again, this is, what you see in front of your screen is sort of an example of what you see open rate and click rate for multiple, EDMs that you send or multiple emails that you spend over a span of time. But basically your open rates, anywhere about 20% to 30% based on how big or short your list is, or which geography or which domain your business is in. It will vary, but usually it should at least be around 20 plus, right? Open rate basically means the number of people that open the email. Okay, so if you send email to 100 people, out of that, if 20 people open the email, that's your open rate. Your click-through rate is the number of people that actually click in the email. Now, obviously, the whole idea of sending email is that you want to promote something, information, service, product, or get people on your website to read the blogs, whatever that is, correct? That call to action on that email is called click-through rate, okay, or the click rate. So these are the two most important ones. Apart from that, there are other ones like hard and soft bounce. So what's a hard and soft bounce? So when you're sending out emails, right, there are two types of, sometimes the email is delivered, sometimes it's not delivered. Now, it's not coincidence that it's not delivered. And when I say sometimes it's delivered, it's obviously always delivered as long as the email ID is correct. Okay. Now, when it's not correct, the email bounces. All right, the bounce. Basically, there are two types of bounces. That is, the email does not reach is called as a bounce. Hard and soft bounce, right? So a soft bounce, let's first look at the soft bounce. A soft bounce means that maybe the email server is full, or maybe someone at the other end, as in the email server is unavailable. It could be multiple reasons, right? Hard bounce basically means the email does not exist. It's a wrong email. The email does not even exist. Okay. Now, hard bounce is generally considered bad because it just means that your list is not good. You're randomly trying to send out emails. So usually, if your hard bounce percentage is very high, when I say high, it again varies from tool to tool, but let's say it's around 30 to 40%, and it continuously remains at that level when you send an email every single time, right? Yeah, you're basically, you won't be able to send email via that tool. Okay, and to keep in mind, whatever tool you're using, including if you're using Liana Technologies tool as well, every time there's a bounce, the email ID is automatically taken off the list. So next time when you send out emails, the email will not go to that particular email ID. Yeah, so that's hard and soft bounce for you. Okay, list building. Okay, so again, I'm just going to in 30 seconds tell you EDM KPIs. There were 4 KPIs: open rate and click rate, most important. And also you need to know hard and soft bound. Open and click rate is people who open, people who clicked. Hard and soft bound, again, very important because that's something that can actually affect your domain if you keep sending hard bounces. All right, so it's very important to understand not to buy less, making sure that the emails are correct and shipping it off. Okay, now we are coming to an important topic which while before joining the seminar, I believe there was a question as to what you want to learn, and a lot of people want to learn how to build lists, right? So we're going to talk about list building, which is how exactly do you get people interested in signing up for your newsletter, or I would take my words back, not newsletter, but signing up to keep in touch with your company, right? And again, the reason why not use newsletter is, think about it this way. How many of y'all have actively subscribed for any newsletters in the last 2 years? Any? I'm pretty sure the answer will be none. And the reason is no one actively joins newsletters because your email is flooded with tons and tons of your email box is flooded with tons and tons of emails that companies send, individuals send, there are spams, there's a lot of things coming in the inbox. You just don't need another one, right? And hence we're going to talk about this in a little more detail today. Okay, so why would you join an email list? Now, the newsletter is definitely not a reason to join an email list. No one joins an email list saying, I love to keep in touch because, I love your newsletter. That used to happen 20 years back or 15 years back, doesn't happen today. No one joins newsletters. So why would anyone join an email list? Think about it, give it 30 seconds before we go to the next slide. Why would anyone join an email list? The most important point, to get discounts or offers, right? To get discounts. I mean, if you're getting, something which is available at a low price compared to what it is at the market, yes, you're definitely interested. Similarly, to get exclusive information. If you're getting exclusive information about a product service that is valuable to you, again, you're interested in signing up, right? And we'll go through examples of each one, especially to get discounts. And let me give you an example for information. So there are quite a few newsletters that float around. One of the important ones that I've seen is iRead, or Real Estate Investment Trust. Now, a lot of these investors want information in terms of what's the latest which is going on, which areas are the hottest, which areas are the ones where MTR is planning to expand. Based on that, they plan their investment. So again, I read newsletters, Real Estate Investment Trust, and they share this information before it leaks out to the outside world. Yeah, that's an example. The last is because they want to stay in touch with your organization. Now, if you're a crazy fan of a brand and you want to stay in touch, you will subscribe to newsletters. An example of that is Starbucks. So, Starbucks usually has an online platform where, on their website, where, if you subscribe, you get a special code for your birthday, or, during birthday month, they send you, some goodies, right? Now, this is not available offline. This is exclusive. They treat their online subscribers exclusively, right? You can take a QR code, go to the Starbucks and get a 50% discount or a free coffee on your birthday, right? Now, that's something. It's still free, it's an offer, but that's something, right? Basically, they're making you feel special, right? So these are the three important points. Now, in terms of getting discounts, which is point A, let's look at that in a little more detail with an example. Now, I've seen the list, and I'm sure 99% or 98% of the audience is from Hong Kong, barring a few from Middle East and other places. So I've taken the Hong Kong example. Everyone's heard about Cathay Pacific, right? Doesn't matter which part of the world are you in, correct? Now, for Hong Kong, for flights from Hong Kong, what Cathay did was, we're talking about point A, by the way, discounts, okay? What Cathay did was, on Monday night, it sent out a newsletter telling exactly which routes were going to be on discount on Tuesday fanfares, right? So the fanfares came out at 8 a.m. on Tuesday, and you knew the previous night, this flight from Bangkok, I want to go to Bangkok. Okay, so I'm going to be ready with my credit card at 7:55 a.m. to book a discounted ticket on Cathay Pacific to Bangkok, because I'm a part of newsletter. I get news in advance and I get a discount, right? So this is a very good example in terms of why people would join, or why someone would like to keep in touch with a company, right? Or basically be a part of your newsletter or news group, right? Now, this is an example in terms of why someone would want to join. However, there are other factors which will stop them from joining. One of the most important one is how much information you should ask for in the forms. Okay, I mean, I've seen companies that ask like 7, 8, 9 questions, and it is just too much to fill. I mean, think about it. You want to join someone's newsletter, even if it is Cathay Pacific, if it's going to ask you 12 questions, are you going to join? Maybe you'll say, no, thank you, I'm too busy. Maybe next time, right? So in basically, when you're trying to get someone to sign up, the ideal number of fields in a form is 3, right? Not 2, not 4, 3. Yeah. And again, even in there, and again, we've spent, you know, months and years testing these things. And again, this is not me alone. You can find a lot of this information online as well, but the exact number of fields that just work psychologically is 3. It's not too much, it's not too less, it's just enough, right? So the next question that you might be thinking is, okay, 3 fields, but what are those 3 fields? You know, is there an answer as to, like, do those 3 fields have to be A, B, and C, or can they be anything? The answer to that is they have to be specific fields. Okay. Now, more often than not, you know, a combination of these fields is what companies use: email and name, email and date of birth, email and phone number, email and gender. Obviously, this email database marketing, and that's what companies are trying to do. So email is the most common thing. So the answer is, what's the best combination? And you'll be surprised. Phone number with email works amazing, right? But what's the third field? Well, the third field is name. Name, email, and phone number. This combination works like magic 9 out of 10 times. And as I said, you'll be surprised the number of people that actually give their phone numbers. And most of the times, you know, companies don't add that, saying, oh, it's too personal. People may not give that. Just give it a shot. You'll be, you know, ready to be surprised. Cool. So now that we know that, you know, there are 3 reasons, you know, 3 main points for how you can actually engage someone into joining your database. We've also seen what is a perfect combination in terms of, you know, putting out fields to make sure that even people who are interested and they like your offer or discount or information are not driven away by the number of fields. You go with the right combination. The next question is, how do you get people to even open the email? Maybe you have the best offer, maybe you're the best company, right? How do you get, and maybe people even know you or the company, how do you get people to open up emails? Pre-header and subject line. 2 most important factors after someone has signed up to your email database list and they said, yes, we are interested in the discount. Yes, we are interested in the offer. Yes, we are interested in getting information from you guys. Here's my details. Please keep in touch. You're at that point, okay? You're at that point where, you know, you've got people signing up. But even after that, you'll be surprised a lot of companies get high bounce rate, or, you know, low click rate, right? Or low open rate. The reason is they don't use a good pre-header or a subject line. So what's a pre-header? Let's understand. So again, please understand the difference. Yeah, what we've spoken till now is getting people to the database with different reasons and different forms. And we've gone through it very briefly, keeping time in mind, but you get the, you get the hang of it. Yeah. The second is pre-header and subject line. Is why would someone open your email once they're in your database? Why would someone do that? Even if they know you, maybe they think, yeah, well, this is, you know, I've joined this list, but maybe it's not really interesting, and they may unsubscribe. There's always an option to unsubscribe as well, even after you've done all the hard work of getting them to your list, right? So let's look at what are these 2 things. Pre-header text. As you can see, the difference between what's on your screen in green and red, right? What difference do you notice? Take 30 seconds or 10, 15, 20 seconds to analyze. What difference do you notice? The one on the left, which is in green, right? Look at what's below the subject line. Look at what's below the subject line. Put your sales, whatever the actual text is, versus look at the right hand side. What do you see on the right hand side? It's some randomly created text. That's called pre-header. These are pre-header. This is how people decide once they know the company. This is how people decide, whether they want to open the email or not. If it's some junk, you'll get less open rate. If it's a proper, intriguing line, you may get a higher open rate, right? So as you can see, when someone looks at, an email in the mobile phone, and I'm sure all of us have used this like a million times, but it's so often that we do that it's unconsciously we make decisions that we may not even realize. And you make decisions based on subject line, which is over here, and the pre-header. Provided you already know the name of the company that's sending you email, you may still not open everything unless the subject line and the pre-header is good, right? So the pre-header basically means, instead of having this junk text, having exact text. Now, how do you get that? So most of the email tools, including the one with Liana Technologies, which we use as well, has an option to actually add that, right? So you add a pre-header in that, which is obviously an option in every single email database marketing tool, which will give you this line which you see over here. If you do not add that text, then you see some junk, or basically someone who's receiving your emails will see this junk. Okay. Well, everyone knows what subject line is, right? The subject line is over here, a fresh look at your email. That's the subject line. Now, I'm not saying this is the best subject line. This is just an example. Okay, but that's the subject line that people are most interested in, and then the pre-header text. Let's look at some interesting subject lines that I've picked up over the years. Now, I can just read this out, but let me talk a couple of minutes about subject lines. So when you're writing subject lines, try to write something which is edgy. Try to write something which is, intriguing, something which generates interest. Don't just write a subject line saying Christmas card. Well, no one wants to open that, although people know it's Christmas card, but write something which is more interesting. So based on that factor, I've picked up 3 subject lines which I found very interesting. One of them was from Groupon. It says, best of Groupons, the deals that make us proud, unlike our nephew Steve. Right? That's interesting. Like, who's Steve? Right? Just throw people off the air, and get them interested, get their attention, right? Second, from BlueJet, 1750 points for you, Valentine's Day flower, and more for them. Yeah, the interesting thing over here is the use of numbers, right? And they're saying Valentine's Day flowers and more for them. So they're just leaving it halfway. The third one is from Copy Hackers. Of course, they have to be good. They write copies. Everything you wanted to know about email copy, but were too afraid to ask. This is a very interesting one because, usually you can't get everything in the subject line, but over here they've said everything. What are they going to deliver? Email copy. And what are they going to do? They're going to answer your question, things that you were not able to do. So they've given everything in that subject line, which is very interesting, right? So get your subject lines interesting. Don't keep them too long. Don't keep them too short as well. Okay. Around 80 to 100 characters should be enough, or 100 or 150 characters should be enough. Okay, let's move on. Segmentation. Now, this is one of the most important parts as well, which is segmentation. Segmentation mainly means dividing your email subscribers. Now, we've spoken about how to get people interested, how to make it easy for them to sign up using exact form fields. We've also spoken about how to actually get them interested based on subject lines and subheaders. But one very important thing is, if you send every single email to every single person in your database, you're not going to get the best results, even with the best subject line. So subject line, very important. Three headers, very important, but then you can't satisfy everyone. Imagine if you have 10,000 people in your database, you can't satisfy everyone. Let's say even if you're selling a product like iPhone, the way you're going to market to, someone in early 20s is going to be very different from the way you're going to market someone in late 50s or early 60s, correct? You're going to market early 60s, someone in early 60s or late 50s, by saying how easy it is to use the iPhone, and create a lot of importance around ease of use and UX. Whereas if you're targeting someone in their 20s, you're going to talk about features, you're going to talk about apps, you're going to talk about a lot of other things, correct? So based on whom you're targeting, right, your subject line will have to differ, and that only comes through segmentation. So segmentation basically means dividing your entire email list into different segments, which could be as per geography, it could be as per age, it could be gender, it could be any other demographic factor, it could be whatever your business is into. For a quick simple example, I've taken geography over here. So an email list which once divided by geography based on, let's say in this example, I may want to send a different email to someone in Japan, which will be in Japanese, targeted towards Japanese market, versus the one that I want to send to China, right? The language is different completely, Chinese and Japanese, right? That is another reason to actually, separate or, segment the database, correct? So the point is segmentation leads to what we call personalization, right? It gives more personalized experience to the end user, and that itself gives a good, user experience, as well as good, reputation of your company in terms of how it interacts with its potential audience. Now, this is another example where the segmentation is done in terms of how much does a customer spend. Now, this is a typical segmentation that most of the hotels and airlines do, because imagine if someone's spending or buying tickets in business class 5 times a year, obviously he doesn't want to be clubbed with a simple email letter which goes to generally everyone saying $100 discount. It doesn't mean anything to him. Even $500 discount. The guy's buying ticket worth $300,000-$400,000 with the airline on an annual basis for whatever reason he's traveling, right? So this is usually what you see with airlines, and similarly with hotels as well. When upgrades are considered, there's a reason they segment people based on the spend, and that's just the industry. This is just one example, right? You can divide it based on any of the demographic factors. Yeah, cool. So if you actually implement segmentation, what you'll notice that your open rates will be 12.46, or let's just say 10 to 15%, average of 10 to 15% higher than your non-segmented campaigns. Your open rates will go up, your clicks will go up, and your unsubscribes will go down. Basically, you will get a good response, and your EDMs will start working if you apply this. Yeah, cool. I'm going to hand it over to Josephine again for the Nissan case study. Josephine?
Yes, right. So yeah, so thank you, Wish, for sharing all these tips and guide and statistics. So we have an actual case study here from Nissan. Everyone knows Nissan, so I don't need to give an introduction of the company. So they come to us with a challenge that their data scattered throughout different channels, and they have a difficult time to try to make a full potential use of it. So by using our solutions, they managed to combine and segment data from various channels to make it more effective. Channels such as the newsletter, social media channels, the showroom, and CRM entries as well. So what they did is, by using all this data, they create 2 promotional newsletters to set it to do a new segment, a segment that they found that is with a very low engagement rate, in the last 6 months. So how was the result of these two promotion newsletter? So they got 1,700 subscribers to respond to the newsletter, and 88 of them walk into the news showroom to browse for cars and talk to the salesperson, and they managed to send out 69 car proposals. So at the end, they sold 7 cars. 7 cars from these two promotional newsletter. It's pretty impressive. I wanted to ask you, do you know your own funnel as well? So if you don't, maybe it's a good time to start to calculate it to find out how is the ROI of your own email marketing promotion. So that's the case study I want to share with all of you, and that will be the end of the webinar for today. And I wonder, what is your challenge? So do you have the same challenge that Nissan has, or do you have a different challenge? You're very much welcome to contact us to let us know what your challenge is, and we will be happy to work it out together with you. So you can contact us, Liana Tech, to get to know about EDM2 better, or you can contact Wish to understand about EDM setup and other consultations as well. So right now, we will go to the part that to answer the questions that you have. So while you are typing out your answer in the chat, I would want to address some of the questions that you have during the registration process. So quite a lot of you were asking, let me see, so about email marketing strategy and how to create better content and how to grow your email list. And one asked about e-commerce solutions as well. So what I wanted to show you is on our website, which you will see the website link on the lower right corner. So you will find a lot of resources. On the navigation bar, go to resources, blog, you will find a lot of content that would address the questions that you asked during the registration process. So tips about creating a content calendar to make sure you create a relevant content for your audience so they would spend time reading your newsletter, watch the video about how to grow your email list. And we also have article about effective email marketing strategy as well. So I also put an article here. It's about how to increase conversion rate for your e-commerce system. So go to your website and check out the resources, the blog under the resources, and you will find a lot of good information there. Let me see if there's any question. So far, yeah, I guess it's because quite a lot of you were already asking questions during the registration process, and I think Wish has been answering quite a lot of the of your questions as well. I'm going to give it another minute, see if anyone's going to raise a question. You all are pretty satisfied with today's content, and there's no question asked. Yeah, okay, looks like everything is pretty clear. And if you later on think of anything, just let us know and contact us. We'll be happy to help. So Wish, I guess that's, yeah, so let's see, there we got one question. The question is about how strict is Hong Kong on use of customer data for EDM system?
Well, how strict is Hong Kong? Well, it's not about how strict Hong Kong is. It's about whether they've signed up or not, because usually, if you're going to send email to someone who hasn't signed up, they can definitely unsubscribe. One thing I can tell you is GDPR, which only applies to Europe, does not apply to Hong Kong. However, if the company does send EDM to someone who has not subscribed to, there are Hong Kong laws that where if they go and complain, action can be taken against the company, but it's not as strict as Europe. But I would highly advise against, sending email to anyone who hasn't subscribed. What you can do is, even if you're collecting, let's say someone's buying on your site, and I'm just taking an assumption it's an e-commerce site. If someone's purchasing on your site, then, in the checkout form, just keep, a fine print note or something which says that, your email can be used for marketing purposes, and update your privacy policy as well on your website. And I think then you should be good to use the emails. But yeah, try to at least make sure that you're covered from a legal point of view, most importantly.
Yeah, I see. Jack, who asked the question, say thanks. I think he understood your point of view, Wish.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, thanks.
Is there any other question? So if no, then we will wrap it up here. So I thank you all for joining. We will be sending you a recording email with a presentation, and there are some additional read in our recording email as well. Thank you. Thank you all
Great.
for joining.
Thanks,
Have a nice afternoon, everyone.
Cheers. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.